Today, Baba is explaining his titles that we praise him with on the path of devotion. Now, in Bharat, Baba, God Shiva, is given many names, but we rarely understand the meaning of those names. Now that Baba has himself come, he says that I do certain things, I have certain characteristics, and that's why these names are given to me. And I'm playing that practical part in accordance with these names or praises. So, first we will take up 3 prominent titles that Baba is given. So, Baba says, people call me Bholanath. Bholanath means innocent Lord. So Baba says, I am given this name Bholanath or innocent Lord. Now, I don't know whether in this day and age, innocent is perceived as a compliment. Yes, because sometimes when you say you're too innocent, you are not actually complimenting somebody. So innocence has also received, a meaning which is very similar to being foolish. So Baba says, Baba is called the innocent Lord. And why? Because Baba becomes a very innocent customer. So, customer of what? So Baba says that I take all your body, mind and wealth, which is impure and worth pennies, and I give you the inheritance of 21 births. You will live in palaces of gold and diamonds and jewels, and this is the deal I give you. So I'm called an innocent customer because I'm taking something that is worthless and I'm giving you something that is very worthwhile. So this is why I'm praised as the innocent Lord. Now Baba says that I give you a deal right now. So you have to strike a bargain with me. And the deal is you give me that which is worth nothing, but I give you that which is worth everything. But it's not that you give nothing and I give you everything. You have to give me that which is worth nothing. So that is the deal. So let's understand this. So there is a story in mythology which is very interesting. So in Indian mythology, there is a character called Sudama. And God is represented as Sri Krishna. And Sudama is the friend of Sri Krishna since childhood. And Sudama is a very poor man. So Sudama lives in poverty. And Sri Krishna is the Lord. And so God doesn't do anything for his friend. That's the story, But so the friend continues to live in poverty and God doesn't do anything about it. God plays with his friend. He stays with his friend. He communicates with his friend, but he doesn't change his destiny. Okay, he continues to be poor despite being God's friend. And then one day when Sri Krishna becomes the king, so at that time, this Sudama, he visits his palace, and there he takes with him 3 handfuls of rice, so uncooked rice, and that's all that he has. So he has 3 handfuls of rice with him, and that's all his treasures. So he doesn't have anything, he's very poor. And then he gives it to Shri Krishna as a gift. So As soon as he gives one handful, he is given palaces to live in. So, and then the second one, and then he's given, everything that he needs. So, there is a very interesting law that um, God changes handfuls of rice into palaces, but he cannot change nothing into everything. So you have to do something to get everything. So Baba says this is a very good deal. Your body, mind, and wealth are worth nothing right now. Yes. So if you see, um, look at your body. Can your body do too much? No, the body is already, it has its own limitations. So, but Baba says, whatever your body can do, if you just make it about Baba, make it, just whatever you do with the body, if you just offer everything you do through the body to Baba, then you will get everything in return. So, everything you do through the body. So, let's say you're cooking, cleaning, you are, feeding somebody, you are driving, whatever you are doing, offer that work to Baba. So, just don't do it for yourself or for anybody. Just offer every act that you do through the body to Baba. And when you do that, then you have offered your body to Baba. So let me give you one very simple example. So I used to write blogs. So in my journey before Baba and also after that for some time. And when I came to Baba, so I started writing about knowledge. So I started blogging about whatever Gyan says. And then after some time, I received an offer for content writing, and they offered a very good sum of money. But I did not want to write or use my hands for writing anything other than what knowledge taught me. So I declined that offer, and then I just continued to write about Baba. And you see, even if, so there are two methods. One is I could have written that and I could have used those proceeds for Baba's service. That also I could have done. And second is I write what Baba teaches me. So when you are surrendered, when you have given, surrender is not physical. Surrender is through your heart, through your intellect. So when you know that this body belongs to Baba, I have given it to Baba in exchange for whatever Baba is going to give me for the next 21 births. So you don't use your hands to do something, write something which, which is not, so either it has to, it shouldn't be against Baba's directions. So it shouldn't be, promoting something or propagating something which is not according to what Baba wants you to propagate. And then second thing is, even if, you have a job or something which is your only source of bread and butter, then you can't leave that. So what you do is, whatever proceeds you are getting from that, whatever income you earn, you use a part of it for Baba's service, because your body belongs to Baba, and whatever work you are doing through that body, it shouldn't be something that is totally against Srimad. For example, if you are doing something, let's say you are in a factory, working in a factory which creates bombs and, or, material which is destructive for the human mind or health or life, then that is against Baba's Srimad. So don't do that. And try getting, even if you are not able to find a job right now which is not doing such kind of work, try to find it, and until then you may continue with this, but try to figure out ways of earning which are better than that. Yes. And then Baba says that you use that body to do Baba's work. So don't do that which Baba forbids you from doing through the body. Then B, whatever you do, even if it is ordinary, it is not directly related to seva or doing something for your spiritual upliftment, you offer those proceeds to Baba, so that a part of it is goes to, Baba's work. And see, Baba says, even when you are doing ordinary actions, be in the remembrance of Baba, so that the ordinariness of the action is not influencing you. You can stay in an extraordinary consciousness and do ordinary work. So even when you're using your body for doing ordinary work, be in Baba's remembrance, and then that act will become divine. So when you have given your body to Baba, this is what it means. Then Baba says, give your mind to me. So Baba says, don't think without, connecting with me. So when you're given your mind to Baba, you don't think without connecting to Baba. So when you are connected to Baba, when you are in Baba's remembrance, then how will your mind function? So Baba is the ocean of knowledge, purity, peace, love. So all your knowledge, all your thoughts will be knowledgeful, loveful, and powerful. So Baba says, every thought, every feeling that you create has to be in my remembrance. And when you are not, when your circumstances are not asking you to create any thought or feeling, then you stay just in my remembrance. So that is giving your mind to Baba. So let me give you a very simple example for this. So when you offer your mind to Baba, then your mind is filled with the treasures that Baba is giving you. Your mind is full of Baba's love, Baba's knowledge, Baba's purity, Baba's power. And then your thoughts, they work differently, because mind is an organ of the soul. And when the soul is in Baba's remembrance, then your thoughts are also knowledgeful, loveful, and powerful. So Baba says, this is about surrendering the mind. And then Baba says that surrender your wealth to me. So whatever wealth you have, whether it is inherited wealth, accumulated wealth, whatever you have, whatever you own, just ensure that it doesn't go into, work or go into activities that are not according to Baba's directions, that which is not pure activity. So, even if you have a flat, don't rent it out to people who are engaging in, lustful and sinful actions there. So, just use your wealth for actions or activities or things that are, that Baba would want you to use it for. So if somebody has some property, it's not necessary that you donate it or, you write it to, for Baba's work, you will it or not. That's not necessary, but at least, you could use that place for Baba's service. Somebody could just, you can offer it to the center and then they could use it for Baba's service. Or, if somebody has a car or something, then they could just use it for Baba's service. So when Baba's children need to go from here to there, that car could be used. So Baba says this wealth, that whether it is inherited wealth, accumulated wealth, any wealth that you have, ensure that it doesn't go into work that creates an account of sin. That's very important. So Baba says, if you just ensure this much, that your body, mind, and wealth belongs to me, then you will receive the inheritance of 21 births in the world of happiness, in the world of great fortune. So this is why Baba is called an innocent Lord, because he doesn't calculate very well. He takes all the old and that which is good for nothing, and then he makes it very worthwhile and multiplies the fortune and gives it to us. So this is the praise of the innocent Lord. And then second praise is Baba is altruistic. And Baba always says that this title of being altruistic can only be given to me. So Baba says, in this world, no human being, no saint, no prophet, not even the deities, they cannot be given this title of being altruistic. And why? Because Baba says altruistic means somebody who doesn't expect anything in return. But Baba says no human being functions without expecting something in return. Yes, and when you ask people which is the most altruistic or selfless service in the world, they say the service that parents give to children, right? That's the one people mention. But parents also have a subtle desire that the children should serve them when they grow old. Is it not there? So parents serve unconditionally, but until the children grow up. When the children grow up, then parents don't serve unconditionally. Then they expect from the children that they should serve them. And I will tell you one thing. There was this one Mata, she used to come to the center and she was very miserable in her heart. And then she told me that my son, he doesn't ever ask, what do you need? So I said, okay, leave aside the son. I am asking you, what do you need? What do you need today? Tell me. So she said, I don't need anything. I have everything. So, my husband, he earned all his life and we have accumulated great wealth and there is nothing we actually need. But, the fact that my son doesn't ask what you need hurts a lot. And my son is also doing very good, he's earning well and everything. But he just, feels that they have everything, so he doesn't ask us. So I said, but why don't you feel fortunate that you don't need to ask? So she said, no, I'm not able to. I have thought about it, but I always keep thinking about why he doesn't ask me. So then I told her, but you see, when he was little, you used to ask him, what do you need? But now, because you think he should ask you, you have also stopped asking him, what do you need? So why don't you try the opposite? So when he comes next time, you just ask him, what do you need? Do you need something? We will give it to you. So then she said, why should I ask him? He doesn't ask me. So I said, but just try, you want to change the cycle? Just try. So then the next time the son asked, she smiled. The son came, she smiled and asked him, son, we have everything. If you ever need something, you ask me. And then the son said, if you also need something, mom, ask me. So you see, that is the response she got. So Baba said, then she was happy. And then time and again, the son kept asking her. So Baba says that, even parents, they have a subtle expectation that children should ask them or, they expect from children. And Baba says it's if parents really need something, not out of expectation. So let me clarify. According to Baba's directions, it is not your duty to fulfill somebody's expectations. But if the parent needs something, maybe shelter or medical aid or some support physically or your presence physically because they are not able to manage on their own, it is your duty to give it to them. So according to Srimad, this is the duty. But it is not your duty to fulfill somebody's expectations because that's not possible. You cannot fulfill anybody's expectations. But, physically providing for the parents is also a duty. But Baba says, only Baba is altruistic. And Baba says, I do not even expect that when I grow old, you will take care of me. Baba says, I am a point of light. I never grow old. So you don't have to, you don't have to ever give any return to me. And Baba says, whatever you do, even if, you invest your time, energy, money, whatever you invest in this work that I'm doing, you get the 1,000-fold return of it. So that you do for yourself. And I don't need anything for you. And Baba And Baba is always described best as a catalyst. So, have you seen that a catalyst brings about the whole reaction its presence, but the catalyst remains unchanged. Similarly, Baba says, I make you create your fortune. Whatever you do in my name creates your fortune, but I am unaltered. I don't take any benefit from you. I just bring about this whole thing that on my directions, you invest your body, mind, and wealth in spiritual service, and then you get the return of it. So Baba says, I'm actually altruistic. And then Baba says, my third title is that, so Baba says, I'm Abhokta. Yes, Abhokta. Abhokta is somebody who doesn't take any sensual pleasure. Yes, so Baba says, you are a soul. I am a supreme soul. You take pleasure through the senses. I don't take pleasure through the senses. See, Shiv Baba comes and resides in the body of Brahma Baba. Yes? So Shiv Baba is also sitting in Brahma Baba's body. Baba is in a body. Baba can take the pleasure of senses because Baba is sitting in that body. But Baba is by default Abhokta. He doesn't take the pleasure of senses. So Baba says, when Brahma Baba eats, I don't taste the food. When, Brahma Baba sees something, I don't take the taste of it. I'm always seeing and hearing in a detached state. And I don't take the taste of whatever is coming through the eyes or ears or whatever is coming through the taste buds. So Baba says this is what Baba is like. But do you know that we souls, it is the soul that hears. Yes? Who feels good after hearing music? The ears. No, the soul. So the soul feels good, feels bad. You see something, it is the soul that's feeling good about it. You go and sit in a park and then there is greenery and trees and there is coolness. So the soul is tasting all of that. And then you hear some good music or you hear Baba's Murli. So the soul is tasting the sweetness of Baba's Murli, or the soul is tasting the sweetness of that music. Or when you eat something, food or drink or anything, it is the soul that's tasting it. So Baba says, you take all the taste, but I don't take any sensual pleasure. So that's why, the soul, because it takes all the whatever is coming through the senses, the soul is experiencing it, so the soul's sanskar becomes corrupt. Yes, that's why you become what you see, you become what you hear, you become what you eat, because you are taking it all in. And according to what you become, you receive a new birth. Yes, so according to the sanskars, you will take your next birth. So for example, you are always, so do you understand this law that you will become whatever you indulge your senses in? So let's say you are always seeing violence with the eyes. Okay, now you think that it is harmless. But when you are seeing violence, that violence is becoming your sanskar, your energy. And then when you leave the body, you are a violent soul, and then you get a surrounding in accordance with that sanskar. Yes, so do you understand that this is why Baba says you have to be very careful of what you consume through the senses. Yes, because you are not Abhokta, you are right now Bhogis. And whatever you are taking in through the senses is becoming part of you. And then that decides your destiny. Yes, so if you are if you are always tasting that which is impure food, then that impurity is becoming part of your sanskar, and then that will lead to your next birth. So Baba says, this is the difference between you and me. I am Abhokta. I also sit in a body, but that's not my body. I don't take any taste, any juice out of it, but you do. And today Baba mentions something very interesting, which is a practice in India, or I would say it was a practice in India, because these days these things don't happen too much. But earlier, when somebody died, okay, then that soul would be invoked in the body of a Brahmin priest, and that priest will be fed. And then, when the priest is fed, the soul feels fulfilled. So the soul is happy to eat its favorite food when the Brahmin priest is fed with that food. So that was the practice. So Baba uses this example. Now these days, I don't think there are that many people in the world also who have that kind of purity that they can invoke a soul and become an instrument, and also that requires a certain amount of tapasya. So I don't think that that's happening now, but earlier this was happening. And Baba says that when that happens, do you understand that the soul comes and eats and tastes and feels happy? So the soul is actually, taking everything through the senses. So even when a soul has departed, it comes, then it also tastes through another person's mouth, because the soul is bhogi. But Baba is not bhogi. Bhogi means somebody who takes the pleasure of senses. But Baba is not bhogi. So Baba doesn't take that pleasure. So this is about some clarification that Baba gives about himself. Then Baba today gives two directions for our, for imbibing every day. And Baba says, in the world, people say that when you leave the body, then you should leave the body when you are on the, on the shore of the Ganges, on the banks of the Ganges. So in India, it is said Ganga is a river, and on that river bank, you leave the body, because when you leave the body on the banks of the Ganges, then your soul will receive, liberation. But Baba says, and that's why, on the banks of the Ganga, there are many places where people go and live in their final stage of life, because they think that when they leave their body on the banks of Ganga, then they will receive liberation forever. But Baba says that's not true. So it's not where you leave the body, it's how you leave the body. So Baba says, you leave the body when you are in my remembrance. And Baba says, when you leave the body in my remembrance, then you will receive the fortune or the next birth of heaven. And Baba says, this you have to keep in mind. And how do you remember Baba in your final moments? How do you ensure that you will remember Baba in your final moments? You will only be able to remember Baba in your final moments if you have a practice of remembering Baba every day. Because in your final moments, you cannot choose who or what you will remember at that time. The final moments will reflect who you have remembered most in your lifetime. When you are in your final moments, the conscious mind is not very active. The subconscious is active. And the one you remember all your life, that one sits in your subconscious mind. And that remembrance will emerge in your final moments. I remember, there was this one brother, and he lost his memory when he became some 85 years of age. So his conscious mind was very, very not working. And he forgot his son, he forgot his wife, he forgot that the place he's living is his home. But he only remembered his little brother. He had a brother younger to him, and he remembered the home which he grew up in. And all day he would keep calling out to his brother. And why? Because all his life he had the deepest love for that brother. And only in the final moments you really remember those who are in your heart. And then you can't choose who to remember in your final moments. So when he was dying also, he leaving the body, he just called out to that brother and he held his hand and he left the body. And that was very interesting. And the wife and the son, they were amazed that all his life we were the ones with him, but he didn't remember us. So Baba says, you have to practice, you have to remember Baba so much that Baba lives in your heart. Check who is in your heart. Baba may be, where is Baba? Is Baba in your day? Is he in your mind? Is he in your intellect? Or is he in your heart? And if you have loved Baba with all your heart, then in the final moments, you will be able to remember Baba. And that is how you will go to, how you will receive the inheritance of 21 births of fortune of happiness. And in Hindi, this whole process is called Ant Mate So Gati, which means your final stage determines your destination. Ant Mate So Gati. And people don't understand that your final stage is not about where you are physically at that moment. Your final stage is about who is in your heart at the final moment. That is why people have just said that, you go and sit on the banks of Ganges and then leave the body, then you will attain moksha. But Baba says, A, moksha is not possible. You have to come into the cycle of birth and death. And B, you cannot, you cannot just physically relocate and attain moksha. That's not happening. You have to work spiritually all your life so that your final thoughts lead you to the right destination. All right, Om Shanti. Anybody wants to share anything, please do.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
I wanted to ask one question today.
Yes.
My method of studying is that I do my best throughout the day, and I ask myself, did my best today, as much as I could, and secondly, I in following Srimad also, I go in this way as I went during exams, whichever is first easy for me. That I do it with very interest, and I find that I'm getting more closer to Baba gradually, and the rest I leave it for next day also to experiment. Is this the right?
No, that's fine. That's good.
Okay.
Yes. Om Shanti. Yes. Anybody else? Hanji.
I had a quick question. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
So, onions and garlic's impure food?
Yes. So why? Because onion and garlic, see, onion and garlic doesn't, so it's not impure per se, but when you are a yogi, when you are a spiritual practitioner trying to remember Baba, who is very subtle, then in that subtle practice, onions and garlics also have an effect. So let's say somebody comes and just asks me, from the street, that is onion and garlic impure? I wouldn't say it's impure, because that person is doing much more, eating other stuff which is much more impure than onion garlic, right? But when we are taking care of our mind in a very subtle manner, then onion and garlic also interfere. Now, I will tell you what onion and garlic does. So, onion and garlic, they make your response time longer. Okay, so what is a response time? See, when suppose you're playing cricket and then there's a ball coming to you, then the quickness with which you hit the ball, that is the response time, and that response time gets delayed through onion and garlic. And this is a proven fact scientifically, but most things don't require that kind of response time, so people don't mind it. Now, when we are a yogi, then our response time has to be the fastest, okay, because we are dealing with Maya. Okay, we are working on the thought level. So, our basic practice is whenever a wasteful or a negative thought comes, you have to win it then and there. You have to change it then and there. So, you have to do the subtle work which requires very fast response time. And that's why onion and garlic is not good for a yogi. Okay, so if we are working so much on ourselves, then this one step will help you. And it's not like, Baba says that you do everything right from the beginning, but gradually, when you are accumulating power by doing the other things, you will have the power to do this also. So eventually, keep it, in line that I will do it. And even if you're not able to do today, it's okay. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Om Shanti. Yes, Mankaben.
Shanti Didi, I also have a question about the diet. So I know we can include dairy, but like, how do we know that it was sourced ethically? Like, if
Yes. So these days, many BKs also, they try to be vegan. Okay, because now there is a lot of awareness about dairy being outsourced in manners which are violent and other exploitative. So yes, these days BKs are also choosing to be vegan many times, but in the traditional practice, it is not, we are not recommended to be vegan. So if you can, through some methods like in India, we have, dairy farms where people go and they procure the milk. So you can just see, superficially that if things are okay, then it is okay to consume. Or, maybe the government is doing it and the government has a, store through which they are selling. So it is usually, taken for granted that the government is using ethical methods. So that those ways you could do that. And otherwise, you cannot really check everything because the source of most things is unethical these days. Yes, so you do the best you can. I would say that. Okay. And if it gives you a lot of guilt, then be vegan, no problem. Okay. Shanti. Let's